I think the largest influence during my youth was when my brother left home in India. I was around 7 years old, and having a family member leave home, that was very different for me. I grew up in an environment in India when there weren't phones, television. It was a very different concept to be able to leave home and live somewhere else. And I eventually left home myself when I was 16 years old. And I think that had a large impact on me when he chose to leave at a young age. My fondest memory growing up was vacations that I took with my family in the summertime. We used to go to a hill station close to Bombay, and it had a narrow gauge train that took you up the hillside. No cars, a lot of wilderness. You had snakes, you had large cats, monkeys, and horseback riding. So that's where I learned to ride, and really enjoyed spending my summers there. One of the culture shocks from coming over from India here at a young age was probably technology. I remember being amazed at television, even telephones. We did have a telephone, but we were the only ones in our community to have a telephone. And so being able to communicate with others over the phone was very different. The weather was really different. I lived in Michigan and had never seen snow. The people were different. It was interesting to see the range of ethnicity and colors and the diversity that you see in the United States. You don't see that in a lot of countries. And being that young, I hadn't traveled much yet, so I hadn't really seen different cultures. When I look back, I probably faced a level of discrimination, but I didn't feel like I was being prejudiced. There were situations where it was clear I might be in a diner and not get served and finally leave. Or there might be situations where people would be confused in terms of what part of the world I came from. But I always found that if you had a one-on-one experience with somebody and you were able to describe yourself and also be able to let them learn a little bit more about you, they became friends rather than people who were, didn't want to associate with you. So I learned very quickly that being part of the fabric of society was far better than being on the outside looking in, and not feeling discrimination is two ways. You also produce an aura of feeling like you're an outsider and people treat you as an outsider. When you feel welcomed and you act like you're part of the environment, people view you as part of the environment. What I do right now is it's considered medical technology, but it's really a combination of understanding human beings and technology and how the two intersect and how you can help people using technology. So healthcare is a industry that is at very much a crossroads. When you think about the changes in laws and regulations, those create opportunities. But then there's also a lot of change in terms of the viability of delivery of healthcare the way it is right now. So as I started thinking about the cost associated with healthcare and the fact that it's almost impossible to create new lawyers, new doctors, new social workers, nurses. They're professions, and professions require a lot of education, and they take a lot of experience. But what if you were able to take 80% of the work that most of these professionals do today that happens to be administrative or just collecting data, or create some sort of technology that would be able to identify human communication in a better way, in a consistent way. So that's what I started out doing, and that's when I came up with the concept of having an avatar that would be engaging, would be able to collect information in a consistent way, wouldn't judge you for what you said, and then had that information available to a professional who could actually help you. So faith is something that I grew up and has been a part of my life as long as I can remember. My father used to get up at 4 in the morning and pray, and I would get up early with him. And I learned to meditate, I learned to pray, and I learned to understand the power of belief, and also the ability to believe what I don't particularly understand. So as I grew up and the challenges that I faced, particularly as a young person moving away from home and not having any family around him, there were a lot of opportunities for me to give up and go home. There were a lot of situations where there was an easier way than the path I chose. But because faith was in my life and was very important driving me, I developed this tenacity. And it also helped me understand that if I believe, there are many things that can happen that perhaps I thought were impossible. That's also helped me as an adult when I started businesses or I had career change. I describe it this way. It's like being able to step out into the darkness and not worrying about whether I'm stepping off a cliff or climbing a staircase. I have faith. I step into the darkness, and it's always served me well.